All right, guys, so welcome to episode 3 of BH Live. And BH Live is a live Instagram, which also gets turned into a podcast and a YouTube series. And the aim of it is for me to interview some of the most amazing creatives in the industry from around the world. Last week, we had Adam Parson, who's a choreographer from LA, and he's great. And this week, we've got Vaughan and Anna Arnell. So I probably said that with a little twang at the end. So Vaughan is an incredible director, and I'm going to introduce him first. I'm reading from the screen, so if I look away, I'm not being rude. With a career spanning 2 decades and over 4 billion hits on YouTube, Vaughan Arnell is one of the UK's most prolific and iconic music video and commercials director. With his finger on the pulse, Vaughan has picked up a host of accolades throughout his career. His music video of Robbie Williams' Rock DJ was voted the 7th most groundbreaking music video of all time by MTV. His visual style and cutting-edge approach has led him to direct memorable award-winning campaigns for major brands such as Levis, Stella Artois and Wranglers. He has picked up 3 Brit Awards, an MVA People's Choice Award and an MVA Icon Award. Vaughan is heralded for his cinematic vision and hands-on style with celebrity talent which consistently puts them in the comfort seat. He has a unique skill of always eliciting natural and engaging performances from his cast, while his ceaseless ambition behind the camera has made him hugely versatile. Vaughan's credit list is something dreams are made of, including Robbie Williams, Sam Smith, Normani, Pet Shop Boys, James Blunt, George Michael, John Newman, Ollie Murs, Spice Girls, One Direction, Take That, All Saints, The Script, Jamiroquai, Rod Stewart, Rick Ashley, and that's not all of them, which is really scary. Okay, so moved on to Anna. Anna is a bit of a massive hitter in the advertising world. So Anna has worked in industry as a writer and executive director for the last 10 years. Shortly after graduating, she was hired at 18 Feet Under, which is now called And Rising. 18 Feet and Rising, which is now just called And Rising. Anna was named Campaigns Faces to Watch in 2012 and was promoted to ECD Creative Partner in 2016. Her Christmas campaign, House of Fraser, helped beat John Lewis sales in 2015 and also won her a gold disc for record sales of Grace, featuring G-Eazy, You Don't Own Me. Yeah, I didn't have to sing, but I did. She created the improvised ad break, which aired on Comedy Central. The improv actors went live on TV without knowing what product they were going to be creating skits around, and the improv group are now famous across the globe. She loves to make people laugh. Her Moose the Dog ads from ClearScore helped take the users from 600,000 to 8 million and gained a cult following with Moose the Dog on Twitter. She created an idea, Fight for Attention for Skoda, which used eye tracking technology similar to that is used in filters today. She has created work for Dogs Trust, Nando's, National Trust, Copperberg, Sixt, Freeview, Nationwide, Selfridges, and many, many more. She has been invited to the judging panel of D&AD Creative Circle, British Arrows, the APA, Kinsale Sharks, and many more. She currently mentors for D&AD Shift, and she says London. She has written articles and commented for many publications, including It's Nice That Campaign. It's Nice That Campaign. Oh dear, I'm flopping. The Guardian and the Sunday Times. Aside from advertising, Anna was nominated for the D&AD YouTube Next Director Award for her short film Bitchin' Heat. She also co-founded Yoko the Bear with Riff Raff Films. Yoko the Bear is also designed to help kids with their mental health. So without further ado, I'm going to bring both of them on. I'm pretty sure they've already requested. Amazing. So by the magic of technology, we should have Vaughan and Anna. 3, 2, 1. Connecting. Yes. Hey guys. How are you doing? Did you like the readout of your life's history?
And then we got married.
And then you got married. So the main thing is these guys are a crazy, crazy power couple in the industry. And they got married just over a year and a bit ago now?
About a year ago. Yeah.
And that hat has been around for about 2 years as well. How are you guys doing in lockdown?
No, but hay fever's killing me today, but apart from that, Anna's
all right.
Hannah's she's on form, that's great. All right, well, we'll dive straight into the questions because we only get an hour on the live and it starts to give me a 2-minute timer near the end. And I really and there's questions already coming in for you, so I want to be able to answer as many of them as possible. So the first question is, this industry is renowned for being a hard one to crack. How important do you think it is to help other people get a leg up in the industry?
You go first.
I think it is so important. I always like to try and mentor a director maybe once every 2 or 3 years. And I think there's nothing more than you're talking to somebody else in the business, and they start talking about that director that you helped to get going and mentor it. You feel so proud doing it, and I think it takes nothing to do. And I think if you can find the right spirit, it's such a powerful thing to do. And I think if you can build up that little network, you help somebody, they help somebody, and before you know it, you've got this whole of love and you just keep that soul going. It's really important.
Yeah, I think it is really important. It's really hard when you're first starting out to find people to help you, especially if you're not connected. Like, I really didn't know anyone who worked in advertising when I started out, and I noticed a lot of people got help from like family who worked in the industry. So it like definitely can be a little, like it has in the past been a little bit of a like closed group, but that's changing massively now, and like it's not seen as cool to like hire family members just based on that. Like, it's really about going out there and kind of putting yourself out there. So I just sent so many emails when I was first starting out to so many people. But yeah, it's quite hard to kind of find the right people to help you, but once you do, they're really, really willing.
Yes.
When I first started, I had this roll of film, because it was like shot on film in those days, and I walked down Water Street. I used to live in Surrey. I didn't know anybody in London, anybody in Soho, and I walked in off the street, in its place in Water Street, and asked this guy if he could grade my film.
Yeah.
And singing it for me.
Wow.
And he stayed all night grading it. He didn't know me from Adam, and it was just the most amazing thing for somebody to help me like that, and I'll never forget that. And I think that's the sort of thing, just always give people your time. It's really important.
It's nuts, because this for the people that don't know, I've worked with these guys on multiple occasions in the past, and Vaughan has allowed me to go and shadow him on a few shoots because he knows one day I want to potentially be a director. So what they're saying is completely legit and helping everyone out, and I would always recommend both of them to anyone and everyone. So yeah, brilliant. Guys, if you do have a question, make sure you put it in the question box below. If you write it in the comments, we will miss it by the end. So just make sure you put it in the comment box. Okay, question number 2. You have both got to crazy heights in your career. Do you still get rejection, and how do you deal with it?
Okay. So if you are entering the creative industry in any form, you will get rejection your whole life. Like, even if you have written a script, you've shot it, you've got it made, and it's been put out there will be some people on Twitter or wherever who will just try and tear you down. That's just kind of part of being a creative person. And I think the more you put yourself out there, the more you get used to rejection. And also just finding, like, knowing the difference between sort of constructive criticism to help you and complete rejection, which could be a kind of it wasn't meant to be thing, is really, really important to like know the difference between someone who's giving you, critiquing you and helping you and someone where it's just actually this isn't the right opportunity at the right time. But like, you've always just got to keep battle through the rejection, like never give up, because the best people in life, the most creative people, will always find a way to get that creativity out there.
And I always think it's kind of weird, like my sort of ethos is if you get something like a knockback on a job, or somebody doesn't want to use you, or for whatever reason, I think it's always done for that reason. And it's quite weird. So because I wouldn't have met Anna, but I went up for one job. I really wanted to do it. It was I think it was for Sky. We got it, then we didn't get it, and then all of a sudden, like we were available, and then I met Anna on her job. And so I think there's always. Never think of it like it's the end of the world. You just got to keep pushing on and go for it. So I think there's always a reason why you didn't get a job. I mean, well, it's pretty obvious, isn't it? But I mean,
everything happens for a reason in the end. You just don't know it in the moment.
Turn the negativity and make it work for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Energy and make it positive.
Anna, you touched on social media there in forms of rejection. How do you guys deal with the negative and the positive sides of social media?
Well, Vaughan doesn't have Instagram.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, so for you it's fine.
Hacked by One Direction fans, so I think like it's difficult as well, because I think in lockdown social media's really helped me stay connected to people. Whereas before the virus, I was a bit done with social media. I just felt like, especially Instagram, it's like this overly curated place where nothing's really real. But actually kind of I got TikTok last year, and I was like, this feels good and pure and creative.
Yeah.
So I think you've got to, whereas, Twitter's, like, I think each social media has its strength and weakness. I think you've got to balance how much time you're spending on each platform. Especially with what's going on at the moment, like, people are very angry as well, and they're using it as an outlet. And I think there's, like, positives as well, when it comes to social media.
And obviously, one's not on social media, like we said a minute ago. What brought you to the decision to not go onto social media when the whole world is kind of jumping on the bandwagon?
Well, since I think it's a really good thing. I think if you took it all away, it would be a really lonely place. So and I think it's a great way. It's just a great communicator for everybody to keep in touch and know what's going on. For me, I just, when you're really busy and you just haven't got time to... I just fuck everything up to this truth. At it, and I think it's better.
He's too cool, but he's
just too cool for social media.
So I just think it's just, I just get on with my work, keep my head down, sort of thing.
Yeah, no, well, end of the day, you're...
It's a good point, because so when I first got my job in advertising, I deleted Facebook, and I never got it back. And
wow.
The reason I did it was, like, every time I couldn't think of an idea, I'd look on Facebook, just as a procrastination thing. I was like, this is going to get me nowhere. And I think of all the hours I could have spent on Facebook in the last decade, instead I could have spent trying to think of my own ideas and focus on my own creativity.
Clever.
So it's all a balance, really.
Amazing. Cool. So early on in your careers, when you both got your first breaks, how did you use them to your advantage in securing future work?
I think that when it's weird. I think you never know when you kind of get your break in a way. It just moves so fast, and you could be working on a job that I think any job it's like on a knife edge. It could rain or something could happen, and you never know. It's never a guaranteed cert, and it may be that your break may have happened 3 years ago and you didn't realise it. I don't think it's that. It is kind of instant. So I think it's that thing of it's. And then once you've had that first break, you're looking for your next break on your next break. So I think it's just a constant. It's keeping it right all the time, and I think it's before you know it, you get to sort of, I hate to say at my age, not Anna's age, you get to and before you think, fucking hell, I've done all that, and you get it. It just goes so quickly. Yeah. And I think so. The best thing is just. I think the most important thing these days. I was talking to a friend of mine, JP at DP, and he's just always got to bring your A game these days. Yeah. And I think just as long as you do your best and stick with what you believe, and be prepared to kind of, go just follow that route.
Follow around.
Sometimes don't try and railway line it through, because I mean, I think if you're really strong and you've got a brilliant idea, then do it. But I think it's the most important thing is working with people and just and it grows. I think for me, it's never a break itself. It's just. It's a big growth. Yeah. And you don't realise your growth until you stop nearly at the end of it. Yeah. No, but I mean, So,
I think you. Was the question about securing your next?
Yeah. So early on in your careers, when you had your big break, what did you do to kind of secure your future in the industry?
Because I think everything should be like a learning, and sometimes it's a really fast industry, and you can almost get caught up in busy culture. Yeah. So I think it's really important after every job you sort of take stock and go like, well, what did I learn from this? What did I do different? But I think the other thing is, like, being a nice person is so important. Just because people will rehire you. And so being nice, being professional, not causing drama, all those things are so important, because you'll get rehired for your next job. Yes. And it's a small industry. We work in very small industries, and people refer one another. Yeah. So all you need is just for one person to say, oh, have you spoken to this person? Yeah. They're really good. Yeah. So I think just those things are really important in kind of having more of a sort of...
And also, I think it's sort of choose the right people that you go and see, that you approach for work. Yes. Because there's probably in this world, there's probably 10% of really, really good people. Let's take advertising on this. 10% of probably 90% of people aren't bad, they're just not really brilliant. I think if you pick the people that you really like and admire, and then go and find those people, probably the chemistry is going to be all right
Yeah.
already at that point. And I think you kind of like, I've been fortunate and like say 1 or 2 jobs have won lots of awards, but then it's kind of like, it's totally fucking uncontrollable and out of your control, because it's like, that was that moment in time when all the chemistry was right, all the people were right, it was like the perfect mix. And then I think when you say, how can you know, make sure when you go to the next, you never know, because you just, having that break is amazing, but it's also scary because like you're looking for the next break, and you know there's often a little trickle of work, but the next break might come in 3 or 4 years time or 5 years time, you know, when you do the next thing that, you know, fortunately lands on your plate kind of thing.
Yeah, it's nuts. And touching on what Anna said about being a nice person, not everyone realizes that bad news travels 10 times faster than good news. So when you're a nice person, it will travel slowly. But if you're an asshole on set, that's going to get told to many people very quickly. And I think a lot of dancers don't clock that, and they come with an attitude, and it's like you've got to keep it down and be humble and be nice and cool. Yeah. What was for both of you? So what would you say was your first big break? So if you can look back, what was the first job you did that you went, wow, I'm on this job?
No, you go first.
I honestly think that most times I work, I think, wow, I'm on this job. So it's kind of, I think probably, like, let's say we take something like in the past, that when I did Rock DJ for Robbie, where he's peeling all his skin off, and
amazing.
You know, you're on that job and you are shitting yourself. It's a really big thing. It was like a 5-day shoot, I think, with prosthetics. Yeah. Rob was in the chair like for 5 hours every morning.
Wow.
All that stuff put on him. And then you've got like the record company there saying it's not going to look bloody, is it? It's not going to look like a peeled rabbit. And you go, no, of course it's not, when you know it is. Fear, and it's with the music video, it's the artist, you know, it's the artist's money as well. Yeah. So they're spending a hell of a lot of money, and it's all trust. And so I think you're on that job and you're thinking, fucking hell, this is amazing. Yeah. You don't know it's going to be amazing until, you know, there's that point. It's like if you're a choreographer or you're a creative and you show the person that you're showing it to, who commissioned you, it's either hero or zero within, you know, I always Friday afternoon, you're about to show an edit, it could be the worst weekend of your life or the best weekend. Yeah. And it's just how, you know, as long as everything is right, but you never know how somebody's thinking. And you may think you've done the best thing in the world, or the best choreography, or the best moves, or the best artwork, or the best design, and somebody just looks at it and goes, what the fuck were you thinking? Or they go, that is amazing, and all of a sudden, you know, often you're on to the next job, and so you kind of have to, I think big success or a big break often comes behind you in a wave about, you know, at least 5 weeks to a year later. It's amazing how long it takes for a job to circulate. Even if it's got, you know, if it's got millions of hits or something, it still takes time and that momentum. It's not ever. I've never known anything to be overnight.
Yeah, my one was kind of different because I've never kind of made a music video for Robbie Williams, but I think when I got promoted to executive creative director, I was really, really young still for, you know, that job. Most people in advertising are kind of, they're in their 40s, 50s, but when they get that job, and I didn't realise at the time how big a job it was. Yeah. Like, you are running a creative agency, there's millions of pounds worth of brand spent going under your sort of supervision, and it really took me a long time to kind of gain the confidence to do that job well. Yeah. It took me a couple of years to settle into the role. And then when I started to, I just found my confidence. I was like, no, I can do this. And I felt really comfortable in front of clients. I felt really comfortable writing scripts on set, like, just really enjoyed it. So I think for me, it wasn't necessarily like a moment, but just a general kind of feelingness that I was in charge and confident in my ability to do the job.
Yeah, that's amazing. So how old were you when you got promoted up to that role?
Sorry?
How old were you when you got promoted up to that role?
I think I was about 29, 30.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I'd only been in the industry about 5 years.
So really, for you, it was like a natural thing. You just slid into industry and things just started happening.
Yeah, it was really hard work.
Obviously. Just got it without any hard work.
Never stopped.
saying that though about it being instant or not being instant, you don't often know. I did a thing recently for James Blunt, which was about a song about his father.
Yeah.
And it was just a big close-up. It's called Monsters. And you just instantly knew. It was just so there was no big effects. There was no wide shots. Just a close-up of him singing about his dad.
Wow.
And the emotion that came across in one take. I think we only put one edit in it. But you just knew then you had something really, really special before you cut the camera at the end of the take. And whatever anybody thought about James Blunt, what anybody thought about the track, what anybody thought about anything, you just knew that pure emotion was in there. And it was just, that was one of the only things where there's some, when you shoot a commercial or a music video, there's always a great take or it's a great idea. But there was just, I've never done anything before with come onto a set. I think we shot the whole thing in 40 minutes. 1, 2, I think 4 takes, and you just knew you had, like, it was, you just had to create the right atmosphere to let that flower grow. It was amazing. So
amazing. Actually, that leads us quite nicely onto the next question, because as you know, sometimes in this industry we have to work on a super low budget. How do you create quality content and keep your standards as high as possible?
That's a really good question, because budgets are definitely tightening. I think you need a killer idea.
Yeah.
Like, it's all about the idea. If you don't have an idea, you also need your team to be on board, and a powerful, really great creative idea will get people to go above and beyond for you.
Yeah.
Because it is quite difficult, especially if you're asking favours of people that you've already asked a favour of a million times before. If people love the idea, they'll want to be part of it.
Yeah.
So you need to make sure that if you've got a really small budget for something, that your core idea is really good.
Bang on. Yeah.
Also, I think if anybody's making a test film or just an idea they've got, and it's their first, it should really be priceless. I think don't think of a one-day shoot to try and get an idea across or get your or your little stuff. Go for a fucking 6 or 7 day shoot.
Yeah.
Because I think when you're pulling that first favour and you get the right people around you, you should just go for the right. Because when you walk in, people say, "Oh, I've just shot this. It's only it's only £500. It was only £50." It doesn't matter. You should just. But if you put all your love and your soul, and you can, the thing that I think. The thing about a great creative is you're a great instigator. You can just get people you excite people. You tell people your idea, say, this is what I want to do. It's be fucking amazing, but I know we wanted to shoot it on a Friday afternoon, but I want to shoot it all next week or just something. If you can sell it, people will do it. And I think if you're making your first film, whether you're an editor, director, dancer, cameraman, just put everything you got into it. And don't go to somebody and say, it was only this amount. Just say, this is what I did.
Be proud of it and use your own creativity to inspire people to be involved.
Once in your life, I think, to make that test. But then when you get into the world of, the real world of commerce and things, the budgets are really small. And then you've got to translate that idea. It's like, it's just how, when you brief people, the people just get people to die to do it for you.
Yeah.
And they'll give you everything. Then, in a way, budgets are a kind of reality, but in a way they go out the window, because if you've got that passion in there, that's priceless, I think. So
you can put it around. Amazing.
Yeah.
Cool. So for all the creatives out there, once you have secured a job, how do you go about retaining your own style and creativity while still keeping to the brief and also keeping the client happy?
So you've got to always be true to your own creativity, I think, no matter what. So there are going to be sticky conversations, and you're always going to. So one thing I would say is get really good at selling your story, your sort of own creativity. Because if you can't articulate it, then whoever ultimately is paying to get your idea made, as it is in advertising or music videos, they're not going to sign off the money, and you're not going to get your idea made. You've got to get really good at articulating why your heart, your creativity is saying it should be a certain way. And then I think the other thing is it's got to be true to the brand, or will probably say true to the artist or the song in some way. So you can't just go, oh, I think it's got to be like a dancing panda just because I saw this funny dancing panda thing. It has to be it has to be true to the brand. That's why creatively, instinctively should feel right. And just kind of managing those conversations and getting people on board with your idea, and not being a sort of creative diva about it, really.
Also, I think when, let's say, somebody has a really dark style, it's a really intense style, or it's they shoot everything backwards, or they do a really dark, deep black and white look, and that's their style, that's their whole, they've got their life around that. I think when somebody comes to you with a job, you know, also try and make sure that you feel that you can put your style and it complements the script or the job that's come in, because I think the worst thing is when you try and shoehorn your style or look into something, and it's like, it's not relevant. You kind of got to be able to smell that out and know that, because I think there's nothing worse than diluting your own ideas, diluting your style, diluting your whole ethos, and then, you know, you're doing something for crisps or something, and it's just people like you because they like your name. But when you actually go with, you bring your dark world, or you bring your style, and then people go, well, can it just be a bit brighter? And you think, well, what the fuck am I doing here? So I think it's knowing that it's having the foresight that the product you're going to deal with is going to like you as well. Yeah. And don't try and fucking shoehorn into a bag of crisps that's not going to, and people want it bright, and you want, you know, so try and suss it out at the beginning. It's the person that's coming to you right for you as well. I think that's really important.
So I'm adding. You guys know the questions I was going to ask, but I'm adding ones in here and there because I think it would be great for the audience. So how important do you think it is for a dancer, a choreographer, a director to actually brand themselves in their own creative style? So if they've got a very distinct style, how important is it to really niche themselves in that style? But you know, by niching yourself, you're cutting yourself off to a different market. So do you think it's important, if you have a strong style, to niche yourself and just go, this is me? Or do you still think it's important to show as much different things you can do?
I think let's say, I won't mention any, but let's say a choreographer, let's say, it's normally, for us as a director or a creative deal, it's not normally saying, you've got to work with her or him because this is what they do. It's normally one job that we've seen that we go, fucking hell, that video or that commercial or that stage was amazing. And I think it's finding, in life, you kind of find the right people to work with normally, and you kind of come together. I don't know, God finds you and he brings you together. And when you work with somebody that you click and the chemistry is right, then you kind of, you shine a light on each other. And I think that's then when people say, I think people look at events in time, that what something's done, and rather than, and then what you do kind of comes off the back of that thing. So, and I think that naturally in life, that finds its way, that kind of, the water kind of finds its own level. And
amazing.
Yeah, so I think.
Yeah, I think it's always good to know what you're good at. I think to maybe pigeonhole yourself as a dancer wouldn't necessarily be the right thing to do. It depends. Like whenever we do castings, it's kind of, as a creative, you know, who doesn't kind of constantly watch Dancer Reel, it's really who sort of stands out. Yeah. And is right for that script, or often like the choreographer will often input who they think, because they know as a dancer. Yeah. So it's a kind of mixture. I think it's good to show range if you want to get maybe more work, but the counter argument to that is, well, I want to be known for this type of dance, so I'm just going to get really, really good at that.
And also, if you're good and you love what you do and you believe in what you do, and there's one thing that you like and you're an expert at, then people see that, and then they go, you know, you go for that casting and there's that one thing that you can do brilliantly. That may only come up once a year or once every 2 years, but when you can do it and you can nail it, that's the magic.
Actually, you'll be the only one available for the job then as well. Exactly. That's a great thing. Yeah. So when you guys are on set, we all know it can get very stressful sometimes. How do you keep everyone happy, keep control of the situation, and generally keep the mood up?
How do you do that?
Let's get a good choreographer that I can bully. So, I think it's just, to me, it's how getting up in the morning, how you feel for that first thing. I like to be one of the first people on the set. I've got this guy called Vaughan Arnell, he DJs as well. And so we get there, we put music on at the beginning, and you kind of got, even if it's like 6:30 in the morning, just put music on, build an atmosphere, have people around you that you trust, that are family, But it's amazing when everybody comes. It's amazing when everybody's children relax and all your crew are children relaxed and they're talking about what they've been doing or whatever. There's no bitching going on and stuff like that. It's amazing that people want to be part of that, and that's why I normally try and keep the same crews all the time, because you can just, it's not a party, but you just have to create that. It's really cheesy, but it's like baking a cake, and if you get one of the ingredients wrong, it goes really bad and it tastes like shit. I think that
is that Moose?
Moose. So I think it's like creating the atmosphere and building the right atmosphere, and so then when the artist comes on, or the actor comes on, or the dancers come on, or whoever comes on to perform, they feel that it's really, bulletproof.
Yeah.
It's a really beautiful bed for them to perform on.
So it's just everyone working in synergy.
Performing in front of the camera, then it's a close-up. I'll always put them on like a 1 foot raised stage riser, because I think when people step up onto a little stage, even if it's 4 foot square, and there's a little bit of movement in that floor, they just feel more special than it. And so it's all about setting the scene, even if you don't see it. I think it's just thinking about the whole.
Amazing.
What people don't see on camera is often,
what makes the magic happen.
Yeah, or never get a girl to take their heels off if they're walking across the room because it's better for their feet, because they walk in such a different way. And you don't see it in a close-up, but you can tell by the way somebody moves and walks and dances. So
Yeah,
amazing.
I think, as a creative, you've got to be really prepared, because if people know you're kind of not on top of it, they can sense that in you. So I think you've got to, know what your role is. So a lot of advertising creatives want to be directors, and they'll kind of try and direct, and that's not their job. So.
Oh yeah, the other thing is put that bulletproof vest on, because there's always somebody ready to shoot in the back. So standing on that stage with your bulletproof vest.
Yeah.
Obviously, metaphorically. Not literally.
Yeah.
Well, it depends where you're shooting, doesn't it?
Very true.
And then if you're in an advertising shoot, you've got to take care of your clients to make sure they're happy, because they're putting the money behind it. So you don't want any kind of arguments on set, and just kind of constantly check in with people.
Yeah.
Okay.
And your overall creative vision is being
and be respectful as well.
Yeah. Amazing.
If there's somebody in the room who's part of the group that you don't even know it is, and they just come up with some comment, and sometimes people just look at you and go, "Who the fuck are you?" But I think always listen. Always listen, because you never know.
Yeah. Well, one thing I always say to people is whenever you're on set, you treat everybody with the same respect, because that person who was a runner or sweeping the floor will be the next director in 10 years looking to hire you, and you'll show up and he'll remember you. And I know from being on set with you both, actually, but Vaughan, you know everybody's name on set. And that was the one thing that impressed me the most. You knew, I'm terrible at remembering names. So for me, it's like, got to drill it in. But you knew everybody on set. And I was like, wow, amazing. Cool. Moving on. So, what would you recommend to a graduating student performer who's trying to break it into the commercial world? So into music videos, commercials, and so on.
I would say it's going to be so soul destroying. So, and as long as you're ready for that, and as long as you're somebody you've got to be so positive, because you're going to get so many knockbacks. You could walk into a door one day and it's bang, it's straight away. It's happened. But I think be prepared for knockbacks. Be prepared to keep going. If you even we all think we're good, but and so I think you've got to believe that there's something in you I think the most important thing is you've got to wake up every morning and you've got to be prepared to do your job for free, because when you're paid, it's a bonus. And I think if you get up and do something, whatever you love, I always say to somebody when they come on a set, if they're making a tea, make the best fucking cup of tea you can, so people remember that cup of tea, and then you'll go on and on. And I think just keep hammering doors down. There's some, most people are really nice out there and really helpful, but sometimes, the worst thing in these days, I think people who just don't phone you back, or people who just don't, you put something in and you don't get a call back. And I think you just got to be prepared for that and know how to navigate the next stage without being a pain in the ass, or without getting a... I think it's just feeling people's reactions all the time, looking for body movements, and just keep going, because you'll get there in the end. It might take 2 days, it might take 2 years, it might take 20 years, but if you really love what you're doing, I think you in the end it will
come through.
Yeah,
definitely.
I think probably doing your homework as much as possible. So just knowing the history of know the history of dance like to a T. Just know everything, and then absorb it. And then what's your spin on the future of dance? And just kind of working out any way you can get your name out there. Like nowadays, you've just got to put so many hours into not just figuring out your choreography, but like your sort of brand and your social channels and how you can, I would say, like sort of take part in other industry things that are going on. It's just good to keep making connections, because the people who are sort of your graduating year, as you all grow up, you'll all need each other and need to sort of refer each other. So I think making friends as well, just a peer group, is really important.
And I think also knowing references and knowing your history and knowing how to describe and sell something. So if you've got this idea and you can't, don't be scared to say it's kind of the Beastie Boys meets Dolly Parton, because it sounds really random, but sometimes people get it so quickly. They say, well, it's taking this from the Beastie Boys, it's taking that from this, and it's taking, and people get it. And just so and I think know your references, know how to sell it. And I think people know their dance references, they know their history references, and just say, it's not you're going to rip it off, but just say, why don't we take a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and just use references. It's really, really, really helpful for people.
Amazing. Jenna, it made me think of a story. Do you know The Big Bang Theory?
Sorry?
Do you watch The Big Bang Theory?
No.
Oh, okay. So there's a character in there called Amy Farrah Fowler that came in, I think, on season 5. She used to be a runner on the set, and she was always apparently the best. And so one day the director went, "You'd be perfect for this role."
Wow.
And now she's famous.
That's a wicked story.
Just by being a runner on the set.
I
So
love this business, you never know.
you just got to be in it, right? And just got to be doing it and be seen. And again, it keeps coming back to be a nice person or don't be a dick. Is the other one. All right, cool. So this is the last question I have for you guys. So guys, anyone on the line, if they do want to ask a question, hit it in the question box below and I'll put it over to these two as soon as I'm done. This might be a big one, so we'll see. How do you think the coronavirus has affected the industry, and how do you think it will change things going forward?
Well, I think the massive shame is like the arts industry's been really hit, and so I think it's really, really tough. I mean, I think it's been good to see that some funds have been set up, but like that's not going to kind of stretch as much as it needs to. I think the world needs creative people more than ever now. So I would say it's really important that creative people don't give up. You know, there's not enough creativity in the world, and we need more of it. And the creative solutions are the ones, they're always the lateral ones. So I think it's really important. I think it's going to come back. This is probably what you're going to say about it sort of coming back fighting. Do you know what I mean? Because we're going to need entertainment more than ever. Like everyone's going through a terrible time in the world right now. It's just awful what's going on. So people are going to need some respite and some joy from life. I think that's...
I think I was talking to you the other day, Brendon. I think the real leveler about this is at the beginning of this year, I was really busy. I did 2 big shoots in January. It was really flat out. You know, so let's say I was one of the directors working, and then there were directors that weren't working, and in September I wasn't working that much, and there are people who were working, and we'd let you think about with dancers. You know, there's certain dancers they're always going to be working, and there are other dancers who are kind of unemployed who are resting. But now we're all unemployed and we're all not working. And there's 1 or 2 people who are, you know, there's a few shoots going on, but none of us are working. And I think now it's kind of like it's kind of like pulled. You know, it was a peaks and troughs, and it's pulled it all down. But it's, I think, we're all at the starting gate like horses.
Just ready for like that gun to go off.
It's a big leveler, and I always think it's going to be before the virus and after the virus. And I think there's going to be a whole different mindset. I think there's going to be a lot of amazing creativity, because if everybody's like us, we've just been sitting around taking pictures of our football. You know, so I think we're going to be really good food photographers. But you know, so I think it's going to be exciting, and I think it's good for people who are just starting, because I think they're going to be coming up starting gate with us. So rather than us, we're up there, we're always busy, and so all of a sudden I think it's going to be it's a real leveler, and I think it was It's the most. It's. I never thought I'd see anything like this in my lifetime. We're living through a disaster movie, and it kind of doesn't feel real half the time.
How many movies do you think are going to be made about this time?
Oh God, I don't know if I can watch them.
I think they made them already, didn't they? Yeah. We're watching them on Netflix.
Oh God, yeah. That series.
Wow. Hell, I thought I was watching the news. It was so, this was shot a couple of years ago. So I think, so I think it's a leveler. I think it's, the first few weeks were interesting because suddenly stopped working and not work. It was really weird.
And it was so quick as well.
Yeah, so that's the thing. So it's going from really busy at the beginning of the year to nothing. I think you just got to take, as I said at the very, very beginning, got to take that negativity and make it positive and take all that energy, whatever your energy is doing in your head at that point, you just got to somehow reform it to make it positive. So.
And do you think that all this is going to change how film sets are, how the advertising industry is going forward?
Yeah, it has already. Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff about, shoot guidance going around.
Wow.
So people are starting to shoot again, but there's all sorts of things people are talking about, like you have to keep your distance. You can't, there's no catering on set. Yeah. So like catering on set is one of the most fun things, like you sit on a bus.
Yeah.
And it's just like it's one of my favourite things of the day.
Yeah.
And so everyone's got to take a packed lunch.
Yeah.
It's just weird.
Wow.
And also that they're talking about instant tests for shoot days. So everyone gets tested on the way in, tested before they can enter a studio.
Wow.
Set together. All these things that we took for granted before. Just hanging out, and I think that's the thing I like about shooting is it's like family, and it's the sort of camaraderie, and you give after a long shoot week, you give everyone a big hug when you wrap, and you can't do any of that.
And you can't go near anyone.
A friend of mine directed a job last week, and he said it's really weird. Yeah, you're not allowed to drive with anybody to the set. You have to drive yourself. He said there was you had to take your own lunch.
Wow.
And I think they were talking about if it's a big shoot. Once it comes back on a stage, I think they're talking about doing I may be wrong, but I think they're talking about tests in the morning and tests in the evening for people and things like that. If it's just certain, I think it's going to be like a passport. It's going to be really scary. So
yeah, well, because in China they have the app, don't they? And there's now apparently an app coming out here that's going to say when you were last tested and so on. Yeah. It's going to be crazy.
Start taking it, it'd be awful if somebody can hack that and just...
Right. Oh, God, yeah.
People that you've had it and you haven't, and then you don't see anybody for 2 weeks. I mean, it's,
Cool. All right, so we have a few questions in from the audience. The first one is from Celia. Have you experienced a difference in directing dancers and actors? How do you adapt to the direction between the two?
Okay, I personally love working with dancers to be actors myself because I think I will always cast, even if it's not a dance move or something, often dancers are much more, their timing is really good, they've just got this kind of more natural performance. So, I wouldn't always do that, let's say, because I'm actor now, that's horrible thing to say about it. But so I think there's an elegance about a dancer that's, so let's say, I'll tell you a good example. If it was, say, for somebody, it was a piece in an ad, no dance move or anything else, I always say to people, cast actors, but always get me in dancers as well, because I think there's something really special about the way a dancer stands or moves or their body, or just the way, I think the way a dancer acts is really good.
Yeah. And the other thing is,
apart from you.
Hey!
With that, it's always worth practicing your voiceover work.
Okay.
Because with budgets the way they are at the moment, you might need an actor who is also a dancer, who might also need to dub some lines in.
Right.
So I've had very mixed experiences with voiceover actors are so good at what they do. They are so good. But a lot of them are specific to voiceover. Sometimes you'll get an actor or a dancer in the voiceover booth for commercials, and they really struggle. So if you can add a couple of strings to your bow, it's just a really good source of income, voiceover work.
Yeah. So just make yourself employable right now, because there's going to be so many people fighting for the work.
For everything, so it's like if you do a specific dance or that you've got a specific look, that can often translate into something that maybe you hadn't thought of and somebody else sees it. So
Yeah, right. Next question is, this has been so useful, thank you. Oh, it's not a question. Sorry, no, it is. When approaching a director choreographer, who would you like to learn under and be mentored by?
Say that again?
I'm not sure if that was for me or for you guys. It says, sorry, it's so small because there's so much writing on it. When approaching a director choreographer, who would you like to learn under or be mentored by?
Who would I like to be mentored by?
Either of you.
I get mentored by Vaughan a lot. He's taught me a lot about directing and being on set. I think you should just always surround yourself with creative people. If you're a creative person who wants to learn, like you can never stop learning. Even if you're like 99, the best creative people will always just constantly
ask for help. Yeah.
I think I don't know. I personally, I've got so many likes and so many film genres, and I think Baz Luhrmann's amazing. I think some of the stuff that he's
incredible.
And I often think, like you just think, fuck yeah, I'd love to be on that set and stand there and just. So I think it's. So I think I wouldn't mind spending a weekend with or something like that. I think.
Also, TV series that are out at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, there's some amazing.
Like my T-shirt. Have you seen? This is a T-shirt from a production company called Pretty Bird.
Yeah.
They gave me this T-shirt and it's like loads of their female directors' surnames.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Melina Mastukas, who she directs a lot of Beyonce music videos and Insecure, the TV show. So I think anything that like interests you, just like follow the directors' writers' rooms, the directors' commentaries. Just even if they're like someone that you can't get hold of.
Yeah.
There's resources out there.
As a director, though, I think if you're a director and you're just starting, probably the best person to be mentored by, apart from another director, is an editor. I think editors, amazing. They'll teach you about what you should have shot, what you don't need to shoot, what you do need to, as I said before, bake that cake.
Very smart.
I think, so I think even if it's you want to be a choreographer, you want to be an actor, don't necessarily go with somebody
straight to the choreographer.
Go for somebody who can complement what you do and teach you about. And they teach you less about style, but they teach you more about communication and what you need to do to tell that story.
Yeah, that couldn't be more true, because as a choreographer, obviously I've learned from dancers and other choreographers. It wasn't until I started really working on sets I learned more from directors, because I had to constantly think about what the director's looking for, which then led me to learn about all the equipment, the lenses, what you're using, and how you have to adapt your music your movements, depending on what equipment you're using. So a prime example is if you're using a very high aperture, and there's only a very small focus point, I would never choreograph fast stuff that goes back and forward, because the guy doing the focus would hate me for the whole shoot. Just understanding what everyone else is thinking about, and then you get into the cameraman and so on and so on and so on. But
I think I'm probably going a bit off piece now, but
that's fine.
Just be prepared to kind of be open to what's going on. I worked with somebody recently, and they choreographed a 1 minute piece for me. Okay. And I said, well, don't worry, we can take a bit of that 1 minute later, and we can use it again, or we can resync stuff, and things like that. And I think, and it was really hard to try and explain to somebody how my brain works and how we could chop things around, and not carnage their work, but just how, don't worry, we don't need it all. 2 minutes exactly. We can. So we can put a slow motion shot in the middle of that, and it will just. So I think. So sometimes when somebody's telling you something, they're not destroying what you've created, but they just think, it's knowing how other people think and knowing what can get you out of a situation as well. That if you can't quite get the whole piece done, so it's
no, agreed.
It's only somebody maybe like an editor who taught me things like that. So.
And I suppose my biggest lesson early on was to not be precious with my own work, because the director has a different vision and the editor has a different vision. So you never get too precious about what you're creating for someone else's idea or brief or that sort of thing. That was kind of my biggest learning curve many, many, many years ago, when I was like, I wanted this, but then you forget you're being employed to deliver or help the director create their own vision. Now I saw the next question, and you're going to laugh at this. What comes first, the chicken or the egg?
That's a good question.
The egg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Any reason why, or just we'll leave it there. All right. So, what advice would you give to young dancers who are looking to break into the industry? I think we kind of covered this in a question earlier, didn't we?
I think this sounds really silly, right? It sounds really stupid. But when we've been when we're doing, because often we'll turn up to do, we'll be there for when we're doing the casting, callbacks, things like that. It's a really silly thing to do. But you, as a director, or if you're looking for people, you always remember, one, if somebody's got a great style and movement and what you're after. But it's really fucking stupid thing to say, but you always remember what somebody wears. And it might just be somebody, you go, oh, the girl in the smiley t-shirt or something.
Yeah,
always
so true.
Always do something that, just to make people remember you. I think it's really important, because it's amazing if you're seeing 50 or 100 people, 300 people that day. And I think, don't be gobby and don't be, but it's amazing when, but when somebody comes in and they go hi, and if you're late or something, just don't be flustered, but just say, I'm sorry I'm late, like, for whatever, and just tell it as it is, people remember that, and they're just, and it's amazing, when you're in a casting, you can, it's the same with when we go, I'm sure, but you can smell the people with confidence, and you can smell the fear that you're going to just wear something, or just something that people remember, if it's your favourite t-shirt, or just a little symbol, or something, and it's, obviously the talent comes first, but it's
of course,
it's amazing what people remember and what sticks in out.
Yeah, well, it's funny because colleges still tell their students to just wear black, even to this day.
I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
No.
Remember that girl who came in with she had like this jumper and it had Phil and Grant Mitchell from EastEnders like in where the boots were, and like
brilliant.
It was fucking amazing. We spoke more about.
We were like, oh my god, where's your jumper from? Like it just started a conversation.
That is brilliant, and I can imagine that happening. All right, okay, this one's very small, so I've got to get super close. This has been, as a mum of a dancer, almost 16 years old, what advice can you give to her in regards to breaking into the industry? Sadly, her height is against her, so she must be quite short.
In our world that we work in, we just always look for amazing people. So I think there may be the thing of theatre and stage and the whole thing, which it's not our world. So I always just look for really brilliant, strong people who are going to work hard, put a lot into it, and again, nice. You must say about being nice to people. Be nice as long as you're good at what you do. It's do you know what? Even if you're a dancer and you're just starting, even if you go in and you don't work on the first set and you're just making a tea, or you're just doing things to help, or like, can I just come along and watch or something? I think just be prepared to do anything. Yeah. Don't be abused, because there's nothing worse than that. But know your worth. But just say, can I just to get your foot through that door? Yeah. I always, when I first started and I was a runner, I always used to say, look, I'll give you 2 days for free, and and then and once you're in that door, and you're good, it's amazing. But people just, even if you have to, you just got to give a bit away at the beginning. Yeah. And don't ever get too despondent. Just keep going.
I think that persistence is so important in the arts industry. Like, I wanted to be an actress when I was younger, and my dad took me to an open audition in London, and like I didn't get through the first round, and like that's when I gave up acting, which is why I'm behind the camera, not in front of it. So I just think like there's people out there who will stick with it and they'll make it eventually, and there's people who will drop off. Yeah. So if you really love it, I think you've got to stick with it. And
like sometimes if we're like, because we're pitching for jobs all the time, you've got to be prepared. Like even with somebody like with my show, you got like sometimes you'll be on a roll and you'll get 4 jobs in a row and you'll be like bam, bam, bam. Yeah. Sometimes it's fucking killer. It's like you'll get 10 knockbacks. Yeah. For people you really want to work with. Like I think I did 5 Sam Smith storyboards before I did the one with Sam. And like the third time you do a treatment, you think, oh, okay, well, and then you do the 4th one, you think it's not meant to be you. The 5th one, you think, they're not even showing you my treatment. And then when you get that one, it's amazing. Yeah. You think like, we went to the pub, and it was like, I went to the pub with Sam Smith. It was a bit sat in the pub talking, and I just sort of, but all those not. I think I did about six different singles of his that I picked up. And you just think, he probably hates my style, and it was just like, and it was amazing, and it was so. Keep going, and even if you're getting the same knockback from one person, don't take it.
Don't give up.
Don't think I'm wearing the wrong t-shirt. Just think like, just keep pounding, and if you're good, the door will open.
Yeah, they have a saying that the only way to fail is to quit. So just keep going.
Yeah.
I've got 2 questions here, which I think you're going to quite find funny. Anna, this is for you. Where did the idea of Moose the dog come from?
Oh, I can show you.
Bring him in.
We have to have one at the table.
I know. And we've got 1 minute 50 seconds left.
Oh, Jesus Christ! Quickly.
It goes fast, right?
This is Moose the dog.
This is Moose the dog.
That's the real Moose.
For the podcast, there is a dog on the screen. Go to the YouTube.
So before anybody gets upset, it's a wet coat to keep him cool. That's Moose the dog.
Yay.
That's where the idea came from.
So do you generally take a lot of your ideas from your own life experience?
Yeah, I did a talk the other week about script writing purely based on the stories you have to tell. So I think like advertising it's lacking diversity in the creative departments. So I always like go out of my way to write different scripts and like different ideas based on like my personal life.
Amazing.
If I know you, I'll write you into a script.
Yeah. So art imitating life, is that the right one, or is it the other way around? And very last question for you, Vaughan. We've got 1 minute left. What was it like to work with Spice Girls and One Direction?
It's like it's amazing when there's a band like that that's so big. They are so big normally because they're so magnetic and they've just got this power in them. And Spice Girls were really famous at that point, so it was kind of just it was just walking around with them, and it's quite weird because you can observe it.
Yeah.
When I was with One Direction, we went to Australia. And they said, wait, the guys walked out, and I didn't go on stage with them, but I walked out to the end of the stage with them, and it was seeing, I think it was 80,000 girls just going mad. It was amazing. Yeah. So being around that phenomenon is kind of, it's just
incredible. I'm literally going to have to cut you because we've got 10 seconds left. So I just want to say a massive, massive thank you to you both for coming on the line. Some of the stuff you said has been incredible. So speak to you soon. Bye.